Carlos, and in this video I want to show you how to render h.264 or mp4 files using RenderBoss. A few versions ago, they removed the ability to render mp4 files directly from After Effects, so now you have to use Media Encoder, and we adapted to it. While there is an extra step the first time you do it, it's actually pretty straightforward after that, and you get to render in multiple machines and threads, the RenderBoss way, while still being able to output to any format that Media Encoder supports. Anyway, I have this comp here. So the first thing I'm going to do is put this into render queue, as if I was doing a normal render. And note that, the file name I use and the folder where I put it, that will definitely be used. However, the codec and the extension that I put here don't actually matter because they'll be changed by Media Encoder afterwards anyway. So here it says my file is going to be demo.mob. But when I send it to Media Encoder, because I want to encode this as an h.264, it's actually going to rename it to demo.mp4. If that doesn't make sense right now, let's keep going and you'll see what I'm talking about when we get there. All right, let's go to the RenderBoss extension. And the option I want to change is this one, Final Video Processing. And right now it's set to the default, which is After Effects. So I want to change this to Media Encoder. And it says it's beta. And I'll go over why at the end, but you'll notice that there are two options. One is called Wait for Preset, and the other one is Auto Start. And this refers to when the frames are sent from RenderBoss to Media Encoder. And just a quick refresher, the way it works is RenderBoss actually uses After Effects to render, and it basically manages multiple threads of After Effects to create a bunch of temporary frames in all the threads and all the machines that you're using. And at the end, it grabs all the frames and then it turns them into the final video that you want to create. So usually, if you select After Effects, it will use After Effects to create the final video. But in this case, it will send all the pre-render frames and it will send them to Media Encoder. And if I select Wait for Preset, RenderBoss will send the finished renders and Media Encoder will wait for me to select the preset that I want and then to hit the start button in Media Encoder. Whereas if I select Auto Start, it will send the frames to Media Encoder, and Media Encoder will automatically start rendering with the last preset that was used. So the first time I send a render, I want to select Wait for Preset. That way it will let me choose the one I want. All right, so let's send this render. Now, RenderBoss was processing the frames as normal, and the difference is, of course, that at the end it will send them to Media Encoder. Cool. Since I selected Wait for Preset, the render was added here in Media Encoder, and you can see the file name and the location are here and everything. Now I just have to select the format or preset that I want, then I hit Start, and it will export the frames into that format. Since all the frames are already pre-rendered by RenderBoss, this is actually going to be pretty quick. And done. Cool. Now let's say I want to do another render, and for all the subsequent renders, I can actually change this from Wait for Preset to Auto Start. So when I send my render, RenderBoss will work on the frames again, and when it's done, it will start right away. Yeah, and that's it. You can do that for all the renders, and you don't actually have to go into Media Encoder anymore. You can, of course, and if you want to change the preset, you can just set it to Wait for Preset again, and then you can change it, and yeah, and then it should be pretty straightforward. The one thing I do want to mention, and it's there, I mentioned earlier that there's a reason why it's called beta, and it's actually a small issue that you can run into, but it's actually very easy to solve. And the issue is that if Media Encoder is not fully open when RenderBoss sends the frames, sometimes Media Encoder will just ignore the signal, if you will, and it will not add the frames to the queue. And this can be avoided altogether just by opening Media Encoder beforehand. So before you send your renders, you just have Media Encoder open, and that should fix it. Even if you don't do that, RenderBoss will try to open Media Encoder as soon as possible while it's rendering the frames. But if it's a very quick render, it is possible that the frames are finished while Media Encoder is still loading, and RenderBoss will send the signal and it will be ignored. And if this happens, don't panic. You don't have to repeat the render. All you have to do is go to the file queue, right click your render, then set to render on this machine, and RenderBoss will basically start your render again. But since the frames are already done, it will detect that and it will just basically just send the frames to Media Encoder again. And by the way, this applies to any render. If you stop it, or for whatever reason the render crashes or whatever, it stops, you don't have to, like, the frames are usually saved. So the next time you want to start it, you just set it to render again and it should pick up from where it finished. But most of the time you should be able to render normally. And that's it. That's how you render an h.264 from RenderBoss. Thanks for watching. Make sure you check out the other videos, and I'll see you in the next one.